Wednesday. As if our house wasn't crowded enough, now Grandpa is living with us. They raised the rent at Leisure Towers and he couldn't afford to live there anymore. So Mom invited Grandpa to move in with our family. Dad wasn't so hot on the idea, even though Grandpa is his own father, but Mom says it will be just like the old days when the three generations lived under the same roof. I think Mom has this rosy image of the way things used to be, but I have a totally different picture of what it must have been like back then. I was actually okay with Grandpa moving in with us until I realized what it meant for me. Mom let Grandpa pick any bedroom he wanted, and of course, he chose mine. That meant I needed to find a new place to sleep. My first thought was to go to the guest room, but I forgot that's where the pig stays. And there's no way I'm sharing the pull-out couch with a barn animal. I ruled out Roderick's room right away because he might actually be a step down from the pig. My only other choice was to room with Manny, so I got out the airbed and set it up on his floor. But sleeping in Manny's room has its own problems. Mom reads Manny a bedtime story every night, and sometimes they're really long. In fact, lately, I think Manny's been picking out the thickest books he can find just to get on my nerves. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. Things have been a little tense ever since Grandpa moved in. You can tell he doesn't really approve of the way Mom and Dad are raising us kids, even though he never actually comes out and says it. Mom's been trying to potty train Manny forever, and she's experimenting with something called no pants after dinner. And it's exactly what it sounds like. What's supposed to happen is that when Manny feels the urge to go, he'll run to the bathroom. But Manny just prances around all night with nothing on below the waist, and eventually he ducks behind the recliner in the family room. I don't think Dad's a huge fan of no pants after dinner, but I can tell he's even more uncomfortable with Grandpa being here to witness it. It's pretty obvious having Grandpa around is really stressing Dad out, and every time one of us kids screws up, it just makes Dad even more tense. What seems to annoy Dad the most is when one of us kids asks Mom to do something that we should be able to do ourselves. Yesterday, I asked Mom to open a microwave burrito for me because I always have trouble with those plastic packages. But Dad jumped all over my case. He said if I was stranded on a desert island with 1,000 microwave burritos, I'd starve to death because I couldn't figure out how to open them on my own. I told Dad that the chances of me getting stranded on a desert island with 1,000 microwave burritos were pretty slim, but he said I was missing the point. He said if I don't learn how to do things by myself, I'm not going to be able to survive in the real world. Another thing Dad hates is how Mom still helps me get ready for school in the morning. She picks out my clothes the night before, and she has a chart hanging in the kitchen to help me stay on track. Soap, breakfast, tea, shower, hair, underwear, socks, pants, shirt, shoes. I guess Dad was pretty embarrassed by the chart because the other day he took it down. But without that thing to guide me through the morning, I got the order of things all wrong and ended up wearing socks over my shoes. These days, I think Dad's just waiting for me to screw up. This morning, I forgot to put the cap back on the tube of toothpaste, and Dad was ready to pounce. I didn't think it was a big deal, but Dad gave me this long speech about how little things have big consequences. He said if I was a kid growing up in frontier times and it was my job to tighten the bolts on the wagon wheels, but I forgot, then the wheel would fall off and our family would get eaten by wolves. I thought Dad was being kind of dramatic, but it did make sense and made me feel a little guilty about that toothpaste cap. I'm not the only one who's been getting on Dad's nerves, though. Lately, Roderick's been getting under Dad's skin, too. Whenever Roderick needs gas for his van, he hits Mom up for money, but a few nights ago he made the mistake of doing it in front of Grandpa. Dad said that from now on, Roderick has to pay for his own gas. And when Roderick asked how he was supposed to do that, Dad said it was time for him to get a job. So Mom helped Roderick go through the help wanted section of the newspaper to find him a job that doesn't require any skills or experience. They finally found an ad for a restaurant that's about 15 minutes from our house. Wanted, seeking motivated individuals to join the team at the Old Timely Ice Cream Parlor. I went to the Old Timely Ice Cream Parlor for Rowley's last birthday party, and that experience may have permanently ruined ice cream for me. They have this one dessert on the menu called the Feeding Tro, which is 40 scoops of ice cream all in one long tray. And when you mix the different flavors of ice cream together, it just turns into a gray slop. The Old Timely Ice Cream Parlor is one of those places where the whole staff comes to your table at the same for your birthday. That makes me pretty uncomfortable because it's pretty obvious they'd rather be doing anything else. It's your birthday, and we're here to say we hope your day is dandy in an old-fashioned way. Roderick had an interview at the restaurant earlier in the week, and believe it or not, he got the job. Saturday was his first night of work, and Mom thought it would be a good idea for the rest of us to surprise Roderick and cheer him on. But when we got to the restaurant, we couldn't find him anywhere. Mom was pretty worried, but eventually we found him out back. Mom wasn't happy that Roderick was on trash duty, and she gave the manager a piece of her mind. But the manager said Roderick was an entry-level employee and that everyone who works at the restaurant has to pay their dues. I'm pretty sure Roderick was hoping we'd all just go home and leave him alone after that, but Mom wanted to stick around. And when Roderick went on his 15-minute break, we hung out with him in the employee lounge. Roderick spent the rest of the night taking the trash from the kitchen out to the dumpster, and I guess Mom wanted to see him one more time before we left. So she told our waiter it was Manny's birthday, and the waiter called the whole staff to our table. But I wish Mom didn't go and do that because there's something about the smell of garbage juice that really ruins your appetite. And if you're feeling hungry and you're at the perfect place, now just blow out the candle so you can stuff your face. Monday. Lately, Mom's been trying to get Grandpa to tell us kids about what life was like when he was growing up. Grandpa says that when he was young, he didn't have television or anything like that, so kids spent most of their time outdoors playing kick the can. Grown-ups are always talking about playing kick the can. One time, me and Riley actually gave it a try to see what the big deal was, but we quit after about 30 seconds. Want to go inside and play Twisted Wizard? Yeah. Dad says when he was a kid, he and his best friend Gills would just use their imaginations and play all day in the woods. Well, me and Riley tried using our imaginations once, but Riley's dad put an end to it before we could even get going. Riley Jefferson, you put down that stick right this instant. Dad said today's parents are overprotective and that when he was a kid, he and Giles roamed free and never even bothered to tell their parents where they were going. But Mom said it was a lot safer back in those days, and now it's too dangerous for kids to be off on their own without adult supervision. Dad said that might be true, but kids like me and Riley need to learn how to protect ourselves. Dad said when he was in middle school, he and Giles buried stuff all over town so that if they ever got cornered, they could fight their way out. But Grandpa had a different version of things. He said Dad and Giles raided the kitchen drawer for silverware, and that's what they stashed all over the neighborhood. When Dad's mother realized her forks and knives were missing, she made the boys dig them all up and bring them back. After that, Dad and Giles got their hands on some plastic utensils, but they got in an argument over whether or not a spork could be used for self-defense, and things turned ugly. Giles told his mother what Dad did and shoved her the spork marks to prove it. I guess those must have been different times because Giles' mom bent Dad over her knee and spanked him. See, that's the problem. See, that's the problem with putting too much stock in the old days. You remember all the good stuff, but you forget about the time that you got spanked by your best friend's mom.